We're recording. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Best Ever You Show. I'm your host, Elizabeth Hamilton-Guarino, and with me is my very special guest and friend and collaborator. I love to collaborate with you. You're the best. Sally Huss, everybody. I wish I had like a big applause. We'll try and work that in. How's that sound when I replay this? Hi, Sally.
Nice to be here.
Oh, it's so good to see you. I wish I could just give you a big hug through the screen. So, yeah, hug. So, do you want to start out just by telling everybody all about you? I mean, you've written 100 children's books. You're an author, artist. Hello, puppy dog. You knew that was going to happen.
The little boxer is very noisy when she wants to be.
That's okay. Part of the interview. You've got a cat running around behind me too, so it's all good. But yeah, no, I just love it if you would tell people about yourself.
Okay. To begin with, I was raised as a tennis champion when I was a very young person. So I was raised to play tennis and to do everything the best you possibly could and never quit and all the things that most sports people are taught when they're very young. And I was successful. As a young person, I was the top junior player in the world. I had won Wimbledon Juniors and the US Juniors. And then the next year, I was a semifinalist at Wimbledon in both singles and doubles. So I had quite a career, but this was before what's called open tennis. So this was before money in this sport. And there was really no real career after that except to teach tennis. And but my other passion in my life, even from a very small child, was art. And so my mother supplied me with tremendous amount of art materials and programs and boxes of paints and finger paints and coloring books, all kinds of things. And so I developed the art, and in school, those were always the classes that were important to me, were the art classes. So I graduated eventually from Occidental College, not from Occidental, but it was 3 years at Occidental, then I graduated from USC in fine art. And, but at that time, again, I had no idea that I would do anything with my art. It's just something I love to do, and that's what I did. But I didn't know how I would ever use that. Didn't even think about it, because tennis had been so much a part of my life. And the tennis opened doors, all kinds of doors for me. And from that, I ended up working in television for a man in Los Angeles who had his own show. He was a tennis friend, and then he needed somebody to help him with books and various things. So I worked for Ralph for a while, and then eventually I ended up working for Sam Goldwyn Jr. in film. And worked for his art director. You know, this is an Academy Award art director that I had the privilege of being in the presence of. And he was an older man by this time and had done many films with Sam's father and had won Academy Awards with him, On the Waterfront, and just endless things.
Endless.
Yeah, but anyway, then Sam's assistant quit, and he was stuck, and he was in the middle of a film, and so I just jumped in, wherever I could, and I helped out there. And then I worked for him in all sorts of capacities in the film, on that film, and then doing research for other films. And eventually that led to another situation where I became working for a lawyer who was in charge of Paul Simon's music publishing company, and he wanted me to be the manager of the music publishing company. Oh, sure, I'll try that. So anyway, I worked for Paul, and at the same time, I started doing some work in dance movement, dance therapy and movement therapy, and it was fascinating work. And so from that, I started teaching tennis in a very different way, because I started playing tennis in a different way, which was focusing on movement and the enjoyment of movement rather than on the results. And so I ended up teaching that particular, and I called it Zen tennis. And I would teach in Beverly Hills at private courts, you know, Helen Reddy, Barbara Streisand, you know, and then Malibu in the Colony, Larry Hagman, and I mean, just a lot of star people at that time. A lot of people don't know those names now, but you know.
I know those names. Are they good at tennis?
Not necessarily, but
Oh,
they
yeah.
enjoyed it tremendously, you know, and teaching tennis in a way that was like dance rather than a sport, an aggressive sport.
Do you think most people think tennis is hard to play or easy to play? I think it's
Well, it
very
is
difficult
hard
to
unless
play.
you start from at a very young age.
Yeah.
It's not something you can easily pick up, and it's not something you can just play like racquetball or what is this game that they're all playing now, you know, with the paddles.
Oh, yeah.
That, yeah, right, that kind of stuff is
Even
like
ping pong is hard for me, so I don't know.
Yeah.
You play ping pong?
Yes.
I bet you can.
All those things. But so playing tennis requires some skill to make it enjoyable.
Yeah.
And anyway, I taught like that, and then I ended up playing and went back on the tour and played in the Virginia Slims tour and all that, and got together with my husband. My husband was then head of advertising and promotion for Hallmark cards. And he worked in Kansas City, and he was a fine tennis player. So we got together, and then we developed a club in Aspen for a man out of New York. And we did that until our son was born. And I said, well, I don't think I want to raise a son in Aspen. It's a little too fast paced. So we ended up in North Carolina and a few other places, and eventually ended up back in California. And my husband, at some point in this whole thing, I decided I would start doing a little bit of artwork and doing some craft things that were craft shows. I watched craft shows to see what people did and how they created a booth. And then I did that, and you know, I had very successful in doing all that. And my husband said, well, let's open a gallery, because he was very adventurous and he was a business person. I thought, oh my gosh, a gallery, you know, paying rent, you know, that was just terrifying. $1,800 a month in Laguna. And we put a big painting in the window while he was cleaning up the floor before we even opened the place. And he sold that painting for $1,800 to pay the rent.
Perfect.
So I said, okay, we're in.
Worry over. Yeah.
So one gallery became 5 galleries that we owned. And one was an outstanding one in Santa Monica on 3rd Street Promenade, right in the center of Santa Monica. But I would write little sayings. I'd always written these little things. Chuck Barris, I don't know if you remember the name Chuck Barris.
I do. Show.
He was a dear friend. No, you can't. You have to sit down. Sit down. Yeah, good girl. And anyway, Chuck used to call them Sally's truisms. And so he would, but anyway, I would write these little things, put a little piece of art with them, and then they were in baskets, and people would come by and read. It's kind of a, you know, if you read them all, it was like a philosophy, and I didn't know I was doing this, you know, creating this, because I had been around some very wise people and had picked up, you know, a lot of information and a lot of, you know, life teaching, you know, and plus my own life, you know, ups and downs with that. So these beautiful little pieces of art, and now I still have a few now on my website. I'm starting to put them up on my website.
I love them. I have a few of them.
Oh, really?
I do. Yeah, I've got your artwork and sayings scattered around the house because I find them so positive.
Yeah. So then these galleries, people kept coming into these galleries, and they'd say, oh, I'd like a little happy store like this in my town. And so, you know, my husband had created the original Hallmark card shops. And so he figured out how to create a little shop, that, you know, of Sally Huss Gallery. And so pretty soon, other people had these in their towns, these little stores. And you have to, no, you're not in charge. Down, good girl. You're so sweet. So anyway, we had 26 in all, and
Wow.
one in Switzerland and one in Japan, in Tokyo. So that was a great thing. And at a certain point, you know, as things change always, and at that point I was doing licensing. That was the other thing, because people would come in and they say, "Oh, look at that art for children. Let's do wallpaper, and then let's do this. Let's do clothing. Let's do purses with your stuff." So I was licensing. I had many licenses, so I was working all the time, you know, ceramics and things. So finally, 9/11 hit, and with that, all the little galleries, you know, little stores closed up, and this and that. So they closed up, and our galleries closed up. We had one last one, but eventually, with that change, and we were always ready for change. My husband and I are always ready to go another direction, and so we end up, because I had through the years had written little stories, and I put them in a box, and I'd write these little inspirational stories, or you know, I'd meditate and get a whole thing, and I'd write it down and put it in this thing, or illustrate it and put it away. And so I had this backlog of material, and when the ebook became very, you know, sort of exploded a few years ago, my husband read all the information on self-publishing you could, and so anyway, we self-published, and we took some of these first little books, and I redid them and did them like that. So I became capable of actually drawing on a pad that was through the computer, and so I could manage that way. And we started creating these books. So now we have over 100.
Isn't that marvelous? And that's how I came to know you through a mutual friend, Joe.
Yes.
Introduced us and said, "You guys have to do something together, work together. You need to have Sally and her artwork and her books on your show on Best Ever Youth, because all of your books have these amazing themes, or like a purpose or a teaching for children.
Yes.
All are so meaningful." I hope you hold up a few. Yeah.
Yes, they're
Tell us
entertaining.
about your books.
Yeah, I was thinking of one, you know, and sometimes they're very subtle, you know. I mean, the Official Mermaid Handbook, 10 Requirements for Greatness.
Oh,
And, yeah.
There you go. Now I can see it.
For greatness. It's so charming. And anyway, these books are
Hold it up a little higher.
yeah, have deeper,
there you go. So
deeper meaning than what you would expect, you know, and it's not intentional. It's just the funniest thing how they come out. You know, it's not like I start out to write a book about greatness or something. I just start to write a book about a mermaid handbook. And then what are the most important things that the mermaid has to know? First of all, she has to be a good swimmer, you know, and then it goes from there. But all of them have wonderful themes. The monkeys who tried kindness. My husband had been in the hospital, and his nurse was the daughter of the mayor of Anaheim. And she said, "You need to meet my father. He ran on a platform of kindness and won in the city of Anaheim." And so they instituted a culture of kindness. And so this book was done for them, about some monkeys who were not kind, and this and that, and how a little monkey said, you know, they were trying to figure out how to get healthy again in all ways. And this little monkey said, "Try kindness, try kindness."
Sounds like Chris Fuller. Every day Chris Fuller puts out a message about being kind. I'll make sure she knows about that book.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but she'll love that one.
And when we got together through our friend Joe,
yeah,
you brought up the fact that,
food allergies. I love it.
Yeah, you brought up the point. You said you don't have a book on about food allergies for children, and so I looked up on Amazon the books on food allergies, and I wasn't thrilled with them. I wasn't enjoyed. And so you gave me some, I kept questioning you about this and that, and then I would pick up little things that were important things that I knew were important for children to know. So this book is not only for a child who has food allergies, but it's for the other children in the class to be sympathetic, to be empathetic, to be aware of the dangers and be conscious of helping that child and being a part of, a friendship. It's so touching, the end of it, I think.
I had somebody say to me today that when their child goes back to school, this is the first thing they're going to hand to their teacher, so that it explains them. They feel like it's an explanation about themselves without them having to explain it. Yeah. That's so interesting.
This is my condition, but to make the other kids aware of it was the whole thing. And then then the end of this, of course, is the teacher, as the little boy explains this whole situation, what he has to be aware of, be careful of, this and that. He has to, she says, she honors him by saying, how wonderful it is that this little boy, what he has accomplished, because he has tremendous discipline. So that's the one thing.
I love it.
Yeah, he has discipline, and therefore, she says, he can accomplish anything with that kind of discipline. So I love the story.
Yeah, I'm so proud of that.
Yeah.
And do you have the one about the play? I can't remember the name.
Let's Play.
Yeah, Let's Play. That's
Let's Play. Yes, I do. I do. Where is that little book? Yes, a friend of mine whose husband was the owner of the Buffalo Bills said to me, "Do you have a book on play?" Let me pick it up here. I'm sure it's right here.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, here it is.
There it is. Look at all of them back there. They're just stacked up.
Yeah, I keep them there. My friends. Here's the book. It's called Let's Play. And what I was told when I talked at the Aspen Institute, does a whole thing on trying to encourage children to be outside and to play, and not necessarily the focus is on play rather than on winning, and so many children quit. There's a whole list of why they quit, and they quit a great deal because there's so much stress on them at a certain age. I think it's sixth grade or whatever it is. Many of them just stop sports altogether. It's not that they have to be champions, but to understand the importance of participating and being active. So it's a terrific little book.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
And then do you want to do Self-Confident Sandy next, or do you want to do the?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Oh, there it is. Positive Pete. There he is.
Yeah, here's Positive Pete. He's had a lot of names before we finally ended up with this one. But Positive Pete has a great line. He's a funny little guy. He's red hair, freckles, wears glasses, he's short, his ears stick out. And he says, "I'm perfect," said Pete as he looked in the mirror. He cleaned his glasses to make sure they were clear. "Yep, I'm as perfect as I can be. Nothing can upset me. No, no, not me." Well, if you had that philosophy, you could live your whole life with that little philosophy. No, nothing can upset me. No, no, not me. So he goes through the day and lots of things happen. And he always turns it around and makes it positive. It's a wonderful little book.
One of my favorite books. I love it.
And after we finished the other book, the food allergy book, you said to me, "You need to have a book for little girls on self-confidence, because to go with Positive Pete." And so I wrote the book, Self-Confident Sandy, and we talked about what kinds of things, and she herself had, and I've had this little rhyme in my head for years, this little rhyme, and I never knew what to do with it. And so anyway, I thought it was perfect for Sandy's, because she said, "Sandy, Sandy, self-confident Sandy, always keeps her mantra handy." When her teacher asked her to tell a little bit about herself, she proceeded to tell her classmates about her inner wealth. Some may wonder why I can do anything I try, and the only answer can be all these things are inside me. So she goes on, and the kids in the class are just amazed at all the different things she can do. She's not saying she can do them great, but she can do them. And she goes on, and then she challenges them, you know, at the end, which of course goes back to your great motto, which is, you know, by trying and doing, said Sandy, that's how I can be the best ever me. You can do it too. You can be the best ever you. So,
I love it.
Anyway, it's a sweet book.
Yeah, thank you for the, I mean, I'm always so grateful for the opportunity to collaborate with you on those two books. It's so much fun, and it's fun to, like today I went on Amazon and I see them climbing into the top 10 in their categories.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's pretty fun to watch it from day to day. I keep my eye on fun things like that. So you have one of the things about, I think, with any kind of children's books is that, you know, adults love them too. And I hear that
Yes.
over and over again about your books. You know, and that's why, you know, kids will pick them up and read them too. But like for adults, they like to read to kids, and it's often the adult's favorite book that they're passing along or whatever. And you have so many of those.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
love
There's my idea is that children's books are read over and over, which is really nice, so that you can plant the seed of something in that child that they can have in their life forever, in this, you know, in the subconscious, by just an idea that might strike them. And I'd long ago written books on this subject: no smoking, no drinking, no drugs, for very young children. My mother programmed into my brother and me at very young to never smoke. And, you know, the rest of it, you know, didn't kind of exist for people at that time. But
sure does now.
Wonderful. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to get that idea of what, of understanding the consequences of your actions and the consequences. And so a lot of good information is passed on. It offers an opportunity for parents or caregivers or teachers to talk about this subject for young children.
Yeah.
And in a very simple way. So that was a book I'd always wanted to do, and finally did.
I love it.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about, again, just the importance of being of living happy? Do you want to hold that up one more time? Because this is so wonderful that you did this.
Yeah, this book, The Importance of Living Happy, is a terrific book. It was originally published by 10 Speed Press as the Happy Book, and they gave me the rights back, which is really nice because the Happy Book didn't make much sense. But The Importance of Living Happy, again, it's almost Pete's point of view of not being concerned with circumstances. But this is, it gives 30 exercises to really improve your state of happiness. It's wonderful. And so recently, because I had for how many years, 12, 15 years, I did a King Feature syndicated panel for newspapers, which was a little piece of art I called it Happy Musings, and it had a little inspirational thought. So I had these 3,000 or so many of these little sayings, little things that I had written, because they were 6 days a week. I wrote.
It's a lot.
That's a lot, right? And and my husband always said, well, why don't you put that in a book? But, you know, so anyway, because of this book, I said, you know, this is really a good book. And sometimes I'll do a book and put it away and not give it any more thought. And it's a really terrific book, you know. And so anyway, I took that and I did 365 reminders of the importance of living happy. And it's great. It's the last one I did. It's
I love that book.
Yeah.
It was fun too. And this is how much influence and you have with us. It's just beautiful. You know, hold that up. Keep
yeah.
Yeah, show us what that looks like inside, and then I'll go on to my.
Yeah, right. It has just a little piece of art beneath it, but it just is the words and the thoughts.
It's like little sayings for every day. You can
Yeah,
really turn to that book and perk yourself up.
life agrees most sincerely with what you think. Think happy thoughts. The more you notice good things in life, the more good things show up. If you see a worry coming, duck. You know.
I love the one with the cat. There's a cat one in there.
Oh yeah, the relaxation is highly misunderstood. Ask a cat.
Yeah.
Underestimated. Yeah, ask a cat.
It's so cute.
It's terrific, that book.
Now, do you live your life like that? Like when you're faced with adversity or faced with negativity, do you flip it around?
Yeah. I'm mostly trying to see what, and the situation that we're all in at this point is unusual, to say the least. It's very different, but we don't know what the big picture is, do we?
No.
So you can only assume. And my point of view is assume the best. You're sure to be close.
Oh, I love that.
So we don't know what changes all this activity will cause, but assume the best. You're sure to be close.
Oh, I like that. I'm going to write that one down. Do you have that one? Do you have that one?
It's in the book.
I'm sure it's in the book too, but that's a great, do you have that in art? That's a great.
No, I don't have it in one of the.
Sorry, Sally. I always give you things to do. You always tell me that.
Right.
I don't know more to do.
Yeah, gift art pieces, I haven't done a lot of but I did a lot with Attitude is Everything. Pick a good one.
I have that one.
If you wait to be happy, you'll wait forever. If you're happy now, you'll be happy forever. Yeah. So it's not the circumstances, it's really how you deal with them.
Yeah. And we modeled our, we're a little bit of copycats. When you don't know what you're doing, you get to sort of copycat a little bit.
Sure.
So as you hold up your Importance of Living Happy book, we created one kind of, so it's modeled after you, and we had your help the whole way. And we're very proud. We've sort of learned to do this. We still aren't pro like you, but we have a new journal coming out, and we were just on another call talking about how excited we are to have your beautiful illustrations throughout our whole book. I mean, oh my gosh, what an honor. We are just, we giggle over these coffee cups. I mean, we're just like, they're the best. They're so happy. And so thank you. We're just so honored, and this will be out at the end, but you can see the resemblance, right?
Right. Yeah. Same color.
Yeah. And you've been helpful editing and and not making fun of us the whole way. You've been so kind, because
you should get an award for just putting out a book. It's not an easy thing.
It has not been easy. We both have been like, it's a real steep learning curve.
Yes.
And so you really have deep respect for somebody such as yourself, who is, has stacks of them in the background, and you've learned how to do this. And what I loved about working with you on this book too, is you weren't, oh, here, let me just do it. That is so awesome, because it's a mentor. You mentored us the whole way.
Oh, good.
And it just made us, so we knew we had you there if we needed to ask questions and things like that. So it's really special working with you on this one too. So thank you for that always. Yeah. So what else? You said you might be working on another book. I know we don't want to have this video go too long. We'll do another one with you.
Sure.
Shorter videos are probably a little bit better, but so we'll end here pretty soon. But what else are you working on?
Well, I'm always doing one thing and another. Once I finish a book, I like to take a little time, and I might now go back in and do some more gift art pieces so that I have them on my website. More gift art, the ones I'll go through. Once I start reading this, I thought, this is really good. And then pick up some of these that are wonderful, that really are worthy. You have to pick the ones that are worthy to put on a wall or put on a desk. So it's not just a clever thought like in a newspaper, not just something there, it's deep. And I remember a friend of mine, when we had these in the gallery, these happy thoughts in the gallery, and I had done for American Greetings, I'd done a thought a day calendar, and she was going through it. She was a very wise woman. And she said, here's one, she said, which was, make your goals crystal clear, and clearly they will become crystallized. And she said, this is not quite right. When you're dealing with the truth, you must be correct. And she said, so then I changed it and I said, make your goals crystal clear, and clearly they will become crystallized, provided life doesn't have something better in mind. There you go.
I read, that's so interesting. That is one of my favorite quotes of yours, or sayings of yours.
She corrected that. She said it's very important when you're dealing with the truth. You can't just be clever. If you're saying something meaningful, it must be spot on.
Yeah, and that one is. I giggled at that one. Maybe my 20-year-old self might have liked without the provided something else.
Yeah.
The first part. My 51-year-old self is like, yep, provided life doesn't have something else in mind. So
yeah, if you try too hard and the door is shut, you don't keep pushing on that.
Yeah,
there's another avenue. Yeah.
I've tried to raise our kids like that, to make sure that they know that, and then to really surround yourself with love, and not people who will tell you bad things about yourself or limiting beliefs and things like that. So big, huge fan of, there are tons of possibilities, and guess what? There's a lot of action required. Action to get it done.
That's one of the things I've been focusing on lately, is the importance of work for children.
Yes.
To really encourage them from a very young age to participate in the family, whatever it is, but do work, because only through work do we really understand the meaning of life. So that was one thing as a child, being brought up as a tennis player, tennis champion, was that there was a great deal of work involved, and work for what you want and what you need. As this master that I read, he said, Mother Nature is so wise. She's given us a stomach, which needs to be fed, and therefore it causes one to work. And a mother worked to either be employed to buy whatever or grow food, but the stomach is critical, and that mothers must not be blinded by their love for their children to avoid need in the child. A child must have need, because then they will make an effort. Beautiful.
Isn't that
beautiful thought? Yeah.
That's a lot of that. Yeah, I'm going to leave that one alone, because that one, so much right there. Yeah, no, that's a good one. All right, so let's send people to your website, to sallyhuss.com. Oh, we forgot, Sally, we forgot the little, are you still doing that, the COVID book, the little free?
Oh, yeah, there's a little eight-page COVID thing that anybody can just download and print it out and give it to their child, and just simple things that they're supposed to do. So that would be nice. Yeah,
helpful as we're going out in public. More people have masks on, and I'm sure children are wondering why they're wearing one, and there's a lot to explain there. So I thought that was pretty neat that you did that and made it available for free. So, but everything's on sallyhuss.com.
Correct.
And also kind of across the board with social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, everywhere. It's at Sally Huss. So you're there, and we can find you. And then Amazon
has all the books.
Yeah, Amazon has all the books, and you also have an author page there that if you're listening, you can follow Sally right on Amazon. You can click follow, and you'll get updates about Sally. It's pretty fun. and all your books are connected through your author page. So anyway, so it's good to see you. Thank you for being on the Best Ever You show in video format.
Oh boy.
I know, I hear you.
At the age of 80, I don't know if that's such a good idea.
Whatever, you know, you're loved. That's all. I hope when I'm at the age of 80, I'm on video.
Still playing tennis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'll be another show. We're going to talk. I would love to do a show with you about health. I think that would be so much fun. Would you do that?
Of course.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Right.
Awesome. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.